Hi, this is Reginald, brother teacher. Did you know that pork was never intended to be eaten by God's people? By people, period. By man. Now, someone says, why is it? It's meat. I've been eating pork all my life, and I was raised on pork. I was even told when I decided not to eat pork any longer in my own life, boy, get out of here. You was raised on pork. Okay, does the fact that you were raised a certain way make it absolute? Does it make it, in other words, right the way in which you were raised? I mean, could there be something to learn from how you were raised, and maybe somewhere down the line you come to some understanding that maybe those individuals that raised me were not as educated as they could have been as to how they raised me or even you. So what am I getting at? All things, just because you can cook it up, you can pull it up out of the ground, doesn't mean that it's good for you and for us. Now, I said in an earlier video that man originally did not eat animal flesh or meat. This is true. You can find this out in the book of Genesis, when God the Almighty created the earth, the sea, all of the water, and the stars and the sun, and then ultimately the plants and the trees and the animals on the land, in the air, and in the water, and then he created man. You'll find this to be true, that man didn't eat meat or animal flesh. It was not until later years, after man had sinned, that man began to take upon himself to eat meat. And then God, the Almighty, during the time of Noah, when the water receded and the door of the ark opened, that is when he gave the command to them to go and eat meat. Not because he was going against his original word or will. It is because man was going to do it anyway. So he made a distinction to the children of Israel of the different types of animals. Yes, I said different types of animals as it relates to eating. If you're going to eat meat, in other words, these are the things that you can eat, and these are the things, or the animals, that you cannot eat. Because, ladies and gentlemen, animals have a purpose on the earth. Human beings have a purpose. Insects have a purpose. Everything that God created was good for its purpose. Animals are no different. There are animals that rule the air. There are animals that rule the land, and animals that rule the water, lakes, rivers, and seas, as it were. So now, it doesn't mean that just because you can pull something out of the water and steam it, bake it, fry it up, doesn't mean that it's appropriate for you to eat, even though it may taste good. It doesn't mean that something on land, you can, just because it's crawling around and running and jumping or even standing still, doesn't mean that you can just cook it up and eat it, because all animals have a purpose. There are animals that are predators. They eat prey or sub-animals. And then those sub-animals eat vegetation or even smaller animals. That is true with the fowl or the birds that dominate the air, space. And that's true with animals on land. And it's true also with animals that are in the waterways. There are animals that are the garbage men of the earth, the water, and the air as well. So what do you mean by that, brother teacher? I mean, there are animals that are designed to clean up the waste of other animals and plant life. In the ocean, in the water, in the rivers, in the lakes, one of those creatures or animals that cleans up the bodies of water, one of them is catfish. I don't eat those. Another one is lobster and shrimp, crabs, lobsters, shrimps, crabs, crustaceans that live on the bottom of the water. Don't eat those either. Their duty, their job is to clean the bottom of their environment. Now, there are vultures whose job is to clean up the waste that's left behind from other animals. That's one bird. And on the land, one of the animals, one of the major players in the cleanup job on the planet is the pig, the hog, the swine, the Bible calls it. They are the garbage picker-uppers on the land. That is why I don't eat pork. That is why I don't eat swine or pig. Now, it is true when I was a child, I'm familiar with pork chops, pork steak, pig feet, and chitterlings. I even recall in my memory what those things taste like. And it's been many, many years, about 40 years since I've eaten pork. I don't miss it because I know the nature of the animal. It's not so much of a religious thing or a spiritual thing. That's part of it, but it's not so much that. I know the nature of the animal is to clean the filth from the earth. And I choose not to eat pork any longer. And I know that pork carries the Trichinella worm, along with various other things. You can do your own research on the pig, and you'll find this to be true. So, where do I get my information? Of course, I get my information from the Bible, from the scripture. Deuteronomy chapter 14. Read it all at your leisure. And that's the dietary law. Leviticus chapter 11. Read it all in your leisure. Make sure you take your time. You'll find all of the animals that you cannot eat. You're going to gain some very helpful information. You may have to pull out an encyclopedia and a dictionary to cross-reference some of the animals that are there. And you will be surprised at what you find. These animals, again, are not for consumption. They bring about detriment to the human body. Because everything that God created, everything that the Almighty created, has a purpose. As the sun has a purpose to be the ruling light during the day, and its counterpart, the moon, being the ruling light in the night. Just like a Phillips head screwdriver is only used for Phillips head screws, and a flathead screwdriver for flathead screws. They both have their own distinctive purpose. Men and women have a distinctive purpose. Men are stronger than women physically. Women bear children. That's their purpose. Men can't do that because that's not a man's purpose. A man's job is to go out by the sweat of his brow and provide for his family. A woman's job is to raise the children. Primary job. I'm not being a chauvinist, just so you know. I'm not saying women can't work and shouldn't work. So, what do you say about eating pork now? You're going to eat it or continue to eat it because it tastes good? Or are you going to look at it from a health standpoint because it's not good for us. The primary reason it's not good for us, it's real simple. God said it. So don't be upset with the messenger. I'm just telling you what thus saith the Almighty. This video is not designed and is not intended to convert anyone to any particular religion or to pull you over to my side. It's just simply an expose, so to speak. It is just a declaration. It's a commentary, as all of my videos are. I just want to get you, as my one friend Dane Calloway always says in this video, I'm trying to get you to think. Some of the reasons that we have some of the issues that we have in our lives as far as our health is concerned is because no one ever taught us anything different. No one ever taught us how to eat properly and what to eat. We're just the product of the environment that we grew up in, and we followed what other people did. And as a result, many of us have left here with cancer and disease because of that. So, this has been Brother Teacher. If you have any questions, any comments pertaining to this, please leave it in the comment section below. And as I said before, I'm not twisting anyone's arm. I'm not making you do anything that you don't want to do. It's all a matter of choice, what you choose to do. I've already told you what I have chosen to do. And I do not eat pork. And I will never, ever again eat pork. So long.